Jesus told his disciples a parable about the need to pray continually and never lose heart. Praying without ceasing is the exhortation of the Apostle, and it was taken seriously by the monastic centuries. All the structure of the desert, in its primitive simplicity and its more modern security, is in view of making possible a locus where only prayer can happen. Years ago, the Abbot General of the Cistercian order, the Reformed Cistercians, sent a letter to all the houses insisting upon the life that one was expected to live within the enclosure of the monastery, indicating that without that all the rest was in vain, a great machine eating itself up. And he did insist that one could end up in the cloister as an atheist, functioning perfectly well, but not bringing God into it at all. It can happen. It can happen also in a parish, perfectly administered, but all the dynamics working on the horizontal. It can happen even higher up. One wonders sometimes whether even synods are sufficiently Christ-centered. We are not God. Years ago, we were shown at La Trappe a recording of what had happened down in the new foundation made by Solem in Senegal. There were two foundations actually, the male community and the field community nearby. And it showed one very moving scene of the superior of the house describing what had just happened when this local man, a pagan, was in tears at the door of the church of the monastery. All he could say when explaining why he was crying was that he knew that God was there. He just repeated, God is there. God is there. And the superior just added this comment of his own. How can you evaluate that with regard to efficacy and money, he meant? It is purely gratuitous praise, having the same gratuitous effect. People perceive a locus where God exists and is honoured, and that space gives them too a locus of encounter. Many things happen when God is fully honoured. One time, when I was looking after guests in the monastery in Italy, our French community there, I found one young man who was heading for ordination who came out with this in French: C'est le lieu où la nouvelle messe est le meilleur célébré. It's the place on earth where the new Mass is best celebrated. He meant that he'd never seen it so well done, in perfect continuity with the old. Incense every day, all in Gregorian chant, using the high altar still facing the rising sun, and all the gestures in harmonious continuity with the past. It worked. And the young voices of the brethren made also it work very well. And on the Sunday we would have also the good organ used, and even also other instruments, notably an oboe. It was an atmosphere, and one could see also quite often at Holy Communion, when people came up in the full church, some very, very moved, because the power of beauty was such that it spoke without anything else to the depths of the heart. That is not an indifferent way of evangelizing. I noticed also in the powerful renewal in France, where new orders, congregations were being born in the ambit of the charismatic renewal, that they too had managed to create great beauty, and that would draw young people in particular. They might be in all kinds of situations, drunks or whatever, but they might wander in, invited by this or that one, and bowled over also by something greater than themselves, without even anything else being said. A space where God himself spoke in the depth. Because harmony is healing, and one feels this is home. So, if we want also to reach out, we need to ask this very question before anything else is asked. Do we create a space where God himself can get through? All kinds of new gimmicks. The likes of the Alpha Course has the value it may have, but does God get enthroned? Is a space given to him where he alone can work? Man is noisy. God is deep. God is powerful. And his message works on a profound level. We only act on the intelligence. The emotions also open the door of the will, and creating an atmosphere of great beauty where the King of Beauty is enthroned is a whole art that we need to relearn. Alas, many of our parish celebrations are so functional that one gets the impression that it's just getting God out of the way by doing the minimum to satisfy an obligation. Is that enthroning our God? I wrote these words years ago in the monastery, deeply moved by the beauty of the liturgy that as a small community we were able to produce, and thereby to heal the passer-by on a painful journey through a dry, arid world. The fairest Mass on earth. O beauty, doubly blessed, where rests the King upon a ray his own. O sound of home, made of the magic columns that here sing twin pipes so huge and small, and that but come upon the air, vibrated, that we move with mastered voice and hand. O land where tread anon the feet of angels, nay, no groove or stored trick, all electric, did the dead awake from their long slumber, as did this, the mischief of a molecule or two that hid the Godhead's trickery. This, the bliss contained where is retained what once we knew, ere we came to be,